Hi guys, can you hear me? Just let me know in the chat, please. Okay, so we have a little bit of a lag here, but fine. If you can hear me, that's great, awesome. You're gonna see me in a second too, at least a little avatar of me, or I can go full screen like this. So sorry to start a little bit later. This event is gonna last for about 40 minutes, and then we'll have some time for Q&A session. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I'm really happy that you're here. This is our first SystemFlow event, so basically all the other ones will be much better, I guess. We're testing out some things, and we want to roll out some webinars for you guys too. We're preparing whole university with courses and tutorials on SystemFlow and on Webflow too. So I think this is going to be pretty exciting. The next weeks or months on SystemFlow, we will be giving you a lot of different updates. One big announcement, we're launching an official version of SystemFlow this week, and hopefully we'll launch it with some pretty cool materials as well as templates that we're creating for you. We're looking for some feedback on SystemFlow version 1 as well as our beta. We had a lot of people testing out beta version of SystemFlow, and now we're preparing to launch the first official version. And what I'd like to show you on during this live is a bit of a showcase of SystemFlow, how we approach to this first version, how it works. And I'd like to create a website with SystemFlow. Step by step, I'm going to show you the process. In the meantime, so this is going to be a demo. It will take about 30-40 minutes. And in the meantime, you can ask me questions. You can write questions on chat, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions after I finish the demo. I hope that everything is now is fine, and we can proceed to the demo. But if you have any questions beforehand, if you want to ask us anything, just Matt is on chat. I can see that. You can ask Matt anything on chat, and also you can leave messages to me, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions as well. And if you want to ask something specific, something about SystemFlow, about how we created SystemFlow, how we want to create future updates and push them to you, just give me a shout on chat. I'll be happy to answer all the questions. Basically, the idea for SystemFlow comes from our work environment. We create a lot of different websites. We create plenty of different landing pages, both for our online businesses as well as for our clients. And the idea came pretty naturally because we wanted to have system that will enable us to create websites much faster than we usually do. Webflow is amazing, and we love Webflow. However, we were missing something between design and Webflow. So it always took us too much time, I guess, to create a website from scratch in Webflow. Although we had some predefined templates, we had some classes that we copied and pasted over. We wanted to have something much more systematic, and that is why how we invented SystemFlow. We've been working with SystemFlow for a few months. It enabled us to quickly iterate through the layouts that we had in Figma and then implement them in Webflow. But after a few iterations, we decided to share SystemFlow with you, and we started working on public version of SystemFlow framework, which is now almost ready, and we are shipping version 1 right now. So this week you'll be able to take part in our launch as well as use SystemFlow version 1. I'm pretty happy about this. If you have any questions, as I said, Matt is here on the chat. I'll be here. as well, and I'll get back to you after the live demo session, the showcase session. I've created a quick showcase, but it kind of takes all the bits and pieces from SystemFlow and showcases the real scenario. Also in a specific way of creating a template, because we'll be creating a lot of different templates for you guys as well to quickly start working with SystemFlow. And this is one template that we've created. That's an ebook template, and I wanted to show you both how we work and how you can take this further and create an entire website in SystemFlow using this template. So I'll be back in about 10 seconds. I'll just connect my screen and I'll start the tutorial. And after this showcase, during the showcase, just let me know your thoughts and let me know on chat whether you want me to explain something further. And after the showcase, about 40 minutes time, I'll be back and answer all of your questions. Okay? Thanks, guys, and I'll switch. See you in a second. All right, so let's get started and let's create a website with Webflow and SystemFlow. First thing, you'll go to this Webflow's dashboard, and from here, you're going to duplicate whatever newest version of SystemFlow that you have. You always duplicate this core project, and this is because you want to keep it as backup and as a base for all of your future projects. And if you mess around with some projects, you always have the clean copy that you can copy your framework from. So let's create a new project now, and let's rename it to ebook and save those changes. We're going to go straight to designer here. And first task is just to create the base of our website with SystemFlow elements enabled. So basically what we're going to do is just delete this section on the home page, this welcome section, and we're going to leave this custom code because it enables us, for example, using material icons and a bit more. So in the body of the document, we're going to create a clean version of this ebook website that we're going to make with SystemFlow components. There are two ways to approach a web design in Webflow. So first, you can create a layout in Sketch or Figma or XD and then transfer to Webflow, or you can just start with Webflow, and from this empty canvas, you can simply select the components from our library. So if you go to SystemFlow documentation, you can go straight to like CTA sections and then select the section that you want to use, then click on the name of this section, and then Command E in Webflow to search, Command V to paste, and Return to just put it in your canvas. You can do it like this, and then you can redesign, and you can use our starting page, so this customized page, to set the overall look and feel, so the colors and typography and things like that, like this. So you can easily start with Webflow. Sometimes we start with Webflow. And if we start with Webflow, we usually have something to rely on, even if those are really raw sketches on paper with pencil, or maybe just a raw prototype made in Figma. You can see that this is not made with our UI kit for Figma. This is just some rectangles and shapes and images that I kind of put on the canvas. I've iterated a few times with these templates, and that was enough to just give me a glimpse of what I want to create with Webflow. I didn't refine this layout in Figma. I didn't create a high fidelity version here. I just, create this raw prototype in 10 or 15 minutes, and then I went straight to Webflow, and I started to use these elements from our framework to map all the things, all the components. So usually, even if you create things from scratch, we have something that will support it. If you are using our library for Figma, we definitely have you definitely have all the components in place, so you can start with the components that we already have, so it's easier. But then again, we have something that you just have to tweak a little bit, or maybe use ready-made component, for example, for cards here and for this hero section. You'd want to go to documentation and then scroll for, let's say, this CTA section, and you're going to find pretty similar thing in there. Or you want to use our card section, and then search for the cards that will be appropriate for the design of this course cards. And if you find something that you want to use, you simply click on the name of this element, then go to Webflow, Command E and Command V, paste it with return, and that's it. This is how you can start. All the components are super easy to customize and super easy to expand. So if you unlink this from the master symbols instance, and then if you go to the layout, you'll see that this is usually a grid or maybe some columns that we have here. You can edit this grid, and from here you can add another one. And if you accept it, select this card, copy and paste, you have 3 cards instead of 2. In most cases, this will just work out of the box or with some minor tweaks. But if it doesn't, it's still Webflow. So you can use all the Webflow magic and all the power to create even new component like you did in the old days. And it's not even from scratch, because then you'll automatically use all the text classes and all the spacing classes and colors that we have in SystemFlow. So it's even faster. Now let's delete this. And the other way around would be not to start in Webflow with some simple prototypes, but to start in a design tool where you have this refined layout for your website. If you're using SystemFlow for Figma, it's so much easier, because then as base components here, you have exactly the same components that we have in SystemFlow. So you start with base components like navbar and hero and feature, and then you restyle it in Figma. You can obviously do whatever changes you need. You can tweak the layout. If you change things like colors and typography, this will be one click in SystemFlow, and then everything will have the same typography that you did. But if you make some other more complicated changes and, for example, remove something from here or add something, it's also super easy to use our different components and classes to add this to the component base. But the component base itself is here, and you can simply copy the name of this component base. You can go to Webflow, Command E, Command V, and return, paste it, and this is the base of the component that I've used in Figma. Later on, it will inherit some styles from the base of the system, and the rest of it, especially the HTML structure, I will tweak separately. But this is not the thing we do at the beginning. First, we're going to add some more components. So depending on your knowledge of the component library, and after a few iterations, you'll basically remember or be able to search for most of the components. It's fairly easy. You now want to add those components. If you have the design in Figma, you can copy and paste. If you don't, you can just use Command E. Now let's search for hero left with image, and I just put in a fraction of the name that I remember, and Webflow's search is super cool. It will let me find the right component and just return, put it in place. Now we're going to use feature, and that would be feature right with button. So yeah, I need feature right button like this. I can place it in there. Next feature component would be 3 times 2. I need feature and then vertically aligned with some basic structure. So that would be this guy. Let's put it in there. And the next one would be CTA. From CTA, I'm going to search for some submit and horizontal with justified. Yeah, this one. Then I'm going to use another feature that would be feature right with button, this one. Okay, next up would be testimonials with 2 columns, this one. And then we again going to use feature, but this time with the link, and that would be feature left. So yeah, feature left with the link, this one. And last element we need is footer. So let's search for the light footer. Version 1 is just fine. Let's place it in there, and now we have the base structure. So what I had is on the second display, I just had the structure without names, but I pretty much remember all the names of the components. But I had this structure, and thanks to this, you can easily paste them in. And now you might want to change the text and images and also some HTML structure. So maybe get rid of some elements that you don't need or add elements that you really want here. And then replace text, images, and restyle it so that it looks exactly like here. I'm going to show you that in a second, but first what I want to show you is how we at SystemFlow also build some templates for you so that you have ready-made, let's say an ebook template or a business template or a video university template that will launch very soon. So we don't apply any other custom styles apart from the SystemFlow defaults, but then you can take this template and you can tweak it and apply styles on top. So for the templates that we create, I'm going to show you how it's done. Let's first unlink all the symbols, and this is pretty important. So after adding symbols, we have to unlink them from instances, and we do this for all the symbols. I don't know why, but this keyboard shortcut doesn't really work for me. Shift Command A, so I have to unlink them manually like this. And this is pretty important because we don't want to tweak master instances of those symbols. We want to have local copies for this page, and still, if you make some adjustments, we mostly work on different classes. So this will be a SystemFlow system-wide change, but you won't necessarily modify the master component. So this is, as we usually do it, we unlink all the instances, treat it as a rule. Sometimes you don't really need to do it. We also included some overrides for some symbols, especially atoms. For example, if you search for a button and you use this simple button here, well, you have overrides in there. So you can type in the URL or you can change the button text. You don't really need to unlink it and then tweak it. And most of the time for buttons, you'd probably want to just use overrides. So for simple elements and atoms like this, we have some simple overrides. But for bigger structures like layouts, you'd want to first unlink it, and then you can easily make changes straight on the canvas. You don't really need to go to the definition of the component, so it's so much easier. And yeah, this is how it works. So right now, what I'd like to do when I have everything unlinked, let me start from replacing the text, and I won't show you everything here, but just some things so that you can get the idea. For example, here, instead of home, I'm gonna put chapters overview. This drop down, I don't really need it. I don't really want drop down here, but I need some extra sections. So here we'll have author, and then we're gonna have reviews. I also want to include a free chapter link, so let's copy this nav link and paste it, and then copy and paste the text. I have it in the doc. And for the button text, we're just gonna use get the book here. Also, there's one change I want to include in the navbar. Now it's not sticky. I want to have this stick to the top of my page. So let's select the navbar. Let's select sticky, and I'm gonna use 0 for top position. And now it sticks. Well, I need maybe a little bit of border, so I'm gonna include 1 pixel. We select the navbar once again, and let's use 1 or maybe 2 pixel border, and I'm gonna use very light color from my palette. From the style guide, and now it's fixed. It looks pretty cool. Then I want to restyle the other element. So next one, I want to paste some ready-made copy that I have, and let's paste some text here as well. Now, if you want to change this the color of this text, it's as easy as selecting a portion of text and wrapping it with a span. And now you can do it basically 2 ways. There are 2 ways to do it. So first is if you use our color classes. If you go to color, you have different classes. And for example, for this text, I'd like to use this primary 60 color. So that's one way. The other way around would be just going to text color here. And the very same classes in typography when you select color. So we have the very same classes used as swatches. So you can simply select this primary 60 as a swatch. That would obviously create a new class for this span. So maybe in this case, it would be just easier to search for CT and primary and use this CT primary 60 ready-made class. Either way is fine for SystemFlow, and remember that this class is also linked to this color. So if you change this color definition in the library, if you edit this color and then you change it to some other, it will automatically be applied across all the elements with this class applied, and all the elements that has this text color applied as well. as a swatch, right? Okay, for further text changes, I'm going to leave them out of this tutorial. It's as easy as copying and pasting the text. For the structural changes, if you want to get rid of anything, it's as easy as selecting and deleting it. And then if you want to replace images, let me first import images that I've created. I've already exported some images, so I can go to Assets. And in here, in Assets panel, you have this SystemFlow folder with all the SystemFlow images. You can go to Custom, so it's a little bit more less messy than the one we have. And then I just import some images that I've exported from Figma. Now you can double click on the image, and as you do in Webflow, let's replace it. We're going to use this one. And it's a bit too big, I guess. Let's first pin it to the bottom and to the center. Let's also apply some margin. I'm going to add 38 pixel margin here. You can add margins like this if you want. It's very custom component. It's a very custom element that you can easily add margin from here. If you want to add margin from our margin classes, you can also do it. We have plenty of these different margins classes in spacing and layout section. And for example, if you want to add 48 pixel margin, that would be using spacing, and then this is padding, margins is M, so you use spacing, margins, and then if you want to apply to all of the values, then you use just a number, but if you want to apply to just top, you're going to use top here. Or you have right, bottom, left, and also X and Y axis that will give you padding across Y axis, so to top and bottom, and across X axis would be to left and right. So what we're going to use here, we probably just going to leave the margin like so. If you'd like to apply this combo class, you'd go to spacing, margin, then top, and use this 48 margin top, and that's pretty much the same. Let's undo it. Let's leave this as it is. What I want to add here also is maybe let's change the width of this element to 90%, and let's create a bit of box shadow. So I'm going to add box shadow with our dark color, but let's change the opacity of this shadow, and also let's change its preferences so that we're going to use 10 for the distance, and let's use, let's say 40, and this looks pretty good. Now let's change overflow to hidden so that this part of the shadow is hidden, and here we have our next section. Let's move to the next section, and sometimes in SystemFlow you just don't have a component that exactly matches what you've created in design, and you need to tweak HTML structure a bit more using Webflow's elements or using some other components that we have in SystemFlow. It's fairly easy. Let me change the structure so that we have video instead of the image here. So we don't have such component in the library just yet, but what you can do is easily, let me pin navigator here, is easily replace the structure of the feature grid, and inside the feature grid, let me create and add another element that would be native lightbox from Webflow. And for this lightbox, I'm going to select an image. I think that we have for SystemFlow some default image that I can use in here. This is this video image, and this lightbox link would need to go here. Here we have the image. I can get rid of it. And inside of the lightbox link, what I can do is we now have this image only, but I can create a simple structure with a div block. Let's command return and give it a name of video background or video BG. So now I've created a new class, and every time you want to add some custom styling on top of SystemFlow, you're just going to create a new class, whether it's a combo class or just a class for this particular element. So for the video BG, I'm going to put this image inside, and as a background, I'm going to use this image that I have in my assets panel. Let's choose image, and this is the ellipse that I want to use. Let's restyle it a little bit. Don't tile it, contain, and put it in the center. Now, if I change paddings for this video background, I press and hold Option so that I can change top and bottom margins, padding, sorry. I can have it like so. Okay, now let's say I don't want to have this button as well. I'm going to delete it, and in this CTA's wrapper, I'd like to add a list. So let's Command E and let's search for list with icons. return, and here is the list, and we also have some overrides. So as long as you want to go with 3 list items, you are safe with overrides. But what's most important here is that we have an icon override. So if you go to material design icons library and you want to select whatever else icon from here, so for example this code icon, it's as easy as remembering or copying the name of the icon, and if you want to replace check with code, you simply do it and you have this new icon. Now you can replace the text, but usually you will have like more or less than 3 items, so then still you'd have to right click and unlink the instance, and now you can easily even with navigator, you can go to the list items, you can select and maybe copy and add 2 more, paste them, and you're ready to go. Okay, for this next component, if you want to delete icons and instead of them create captions here, you just delete the icon, and let me check the structure here. Where am I? It's important that you are in the very element that you want to paste into. So for example, in this first feature block, now you'd want to search for tagline and use this tagline and position it here. For the tagline, we might have an override, so you can change the text here. And if you want to apply this change to all of the elements, what I recommend is just going to navigator, and you can delete all the feature blocks that we have here. And last one, and you can select this one and copy and paste 5 times. And here you have icons replaced with taglines. Now let's go to the other section, and here we have something that I want to completely restyle. Let's select CTA section, and in the styles pane, let me select different background colors. So in SystemFlow, if you go to color section, we have the same colors that you can apply to both text and to backgrounds. Those are basically the same swatches, but you'll use different classes. So for background colors, you'll use color background, and for text, you'll use color text CT. Okay, so for background color here, what I can do is apply a combo class of color, then background, and select my primary, I guess, 100 color. Or I can do the same with the swatch. So in background, I can simply select this color swatch. So that's basically the same. This is done with different class. In this case, you'd have to be careful, because if you apply a different background color from here to the entire CTA section class, you'll change all the CTA sections. So instead, it's better to just use this class, or if you want to change the color of this particular section, you'd want to apply another combo class such as my custom section, and then you can change the color easily from here. The same applies to headings and body texts, and in here it's so much easier to simply add this combo class that would be color, text, and then I'm going to use neutral 10 for both heading as well as this body text. So let's add this color, text, and neutral 10. This is easier than applying some other combo classes such as my heading for newsletter and then changing the color swatch. You just have the class that's applied on top. And here we have, for this guy, I think that I need to use a bit different color than a CT primary 60 to have better contrast. I can easily get rid of this class and use CT primary 40, and it looks even better. Now for the next section, I need to replace this image. Let's double click, replace the image. I'm going to select this one. Okay, now let's get rid of this button, maybe entire CTA wrapper. I don't really need it here. Here I'm gonna Command E, use a tagline. So let's put a tagline symbol in here. We might be able to drag and drop it like that. And now let's just paste some more text in here. For this testimonial section, I'm gonna leave it as is. Maybe just replace the images with stars that I already have here. And for the latter section, what I'd like to do is a bit more tweaking. So I'm going to have this image to be a big version of our book, but I want it to be smaller. If you want to have a precise width of the book set to, let's say, 360 pixels, you can obviously do it. And then later on, you're going to tweak it in the responsive versions. Now let's go to Navigator, and let's maybe pin it for a second so that I can create a structure with the background. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did with video. Create a div block here, put an image inside this div block. That would be command return a book background, BG. And for the book background, I'd like to use alignment to center and justify to center as well. And for background, let me add an image here. We're going to use the image that we have with ellipse, and not this one exactly. So let's select ellipse here. Now let's select contain. Let's put it in the center. Don't repeat it. And for the book background padding, here we need left and right padding so that we can see the circle, for example, like this. And also for the entire section, I'd like to apply a background color. So this is the name of feature section. It's pretty unique, but here we have feature section as well. So in this case, what I really recommend you doing is adding one class on top of this, or for this base elements, you can as well change the name right here, because in SystemFlow, we try not to apply any custom properties to this root section so that you can easily rename them. So for example, here, if you want to give it the name of book CTA, for example, you can do it. And now you can, for example, change the background color for the entire section. Let's go to background and select one of our light blue colors. For example, this guy, or maybe a bit lighter. And here we have it. One more thing I'd like to replace is this text link. So let me delete this text link and icon, and instead I'm going to use a button with an image. So I'm going to search for button primary with icon, and icon should be to the left hand side of the button like this. Here you have the override with the button name. So here is face, and let's change it to verified. And here we have different icon. So there we have another section, and I'm going to leave the footer as is. Now let's check the responsive version of what we've created here, and all of our components are responsive by default. So usually they look really, really good in mobile view, like this ones. However, sometimes you'll have, for example, the component with small image, and we've replaced it with really huge image, and you want to tweak it. But it's fairly easy to do. I mean, it's as easy as editing the grid. If you still want to end up with two columns here, you can obviously add columns. It will work. If you want to change this picture so that it's slightly smaller, you can obviously change its size here. So it's really easy. And for some version of components, if you, let's say, want to change the positioning of the elements, we also have some special classes. For example, for text, if you go to our typography section, here you'll find some classes that will let you change the alignment of the text to left, center, or right. So if, for example, you want to change the positioning of this body text here, what you could do is press Command Return and use text alignment center. And this is adding a new class to that. So if I add this class, and by the way, it's always safer to select it with your mouse or keyboard arrows and then press return. It looks good here and in other breakpoints, but unfortunately, this is a new class that I've added. So in desktop version, I'd have this centered as well. So this is not exactly what I'm looking for. I need to get rid of this class. And in this case, if you want to change something really specific for tablet or other responsive versions, our recommendation is to simply add another class on top of it. So you have this extra class here. And then in this extra class, you can simply create this alignment, and now it will be aligned to the center in all of the responsive versions. So sometimes on top of SystemFlow, you just want to add these extra classes, and this is totally fine. And also, if you look at our spacing and layout section, we have this special spacing classes for different breakpoints. It means that if you want to apply margins or padding, but only for tablet and below, you can do it with a class, for example, using this spacing tablet, and then you apply 32 pixel padding to each side of the element, but only on tablet version and below. This is a bit more advanced, and I'm going to explain it in some other tutorials, but you can easily do it, and it's super helpful. So right now we have the base layout for our framework website. Like I said, for SystemFlow, we want to create some starter templates like this so that you don't have to start with the blank canvas. If you want to quickly create a landing page for an ebook, you can just use this starter template. And here I haven't messed around with styling, and that's pretty cool because on top of that, you can apply your own styling. And as you'll see, this is super straightforward. So for example, if we want to transform a website like this, our starter template, into something that we have designed in Figma, we only need to change some images and text and a bit of styling. So what we want to do first is go to project settings to add some specific fonts for our project. So let's go to fonts. And from here, I want to add Google Fonts. I'm going to delete Inter. Let's search for Laura and we'll use 600. And also, I'd like to use Epilogue. That would be our body text. So I'd like to use 500 and 600 for both, I guess. So let's add Epilogue. I'm going to go back to designer. This is it. And for restyling, you basically have two ways. You can either work directly on your layout. So you can select the heading and then apply a specific font for the heading, or you can start with our style guide pages. So for example, if you go to this customize page, first, you have very basic settings that you can adjust. For example, you can change global font, and there is an instruction here. So let's click on body. Then let's select body all pages, and we want to change typography for the entire page to, here we had epilogue, I guess. And there we have default would be, I guess, 400 normal. Yeah, so now we've changed entire typography. We can go to headings and change them directly here in the customize page. But sometimes for simple pages like this, it's easier to work directly on the canvas. So for example, if I want to change headings right now, I go ahead and select headings, and I can change heading XL right now. I can change it to Laura. But if I delete just for a second this combo class XL, now I'm editing the class for all the headings. So if I want to change the font for all the headings to Laura, I'm going to do it like so. And now I can reapply this XL so that I have sizes inherited from this XL class, combo class, but all of the headings, this H2 headings and H1 and H3s are now Laura. So this is pretty cool. If you want to adjust more settings to the specific headings, for example, change some margins or spacing for the biggest headings according to your layout, you can easily do it with this class selected, and it's just as easy as changing this margin. I guess that tweaking things on this specific layout is a bit easier than using the style guide, because you simply change what you see on the canvas. But this again requires that you have the starter template, or you recreated the component structure first in Webflow, then you can click and change all the elements. But again, as I said, you can use this customize page, or you can go even deeper in our framework. And for example, if you're starting with some ready-made style guide or a design system that you want to map onto your version of SystemFlow, you can go to typography or color, and from here you can select all the elements. And let's say you want to readjust all the colors. You have all the colors here, and you can select and change all the color values. Okay, for colors, again, there are two ways. For example, you can go to the homepage, and directly on the homepage, you can change those colors. So for example, if you select this city primary 60 class, there is a primary color, and now it's blue. So let's say you want to change it to this green color. Let me sample it and copy the color value from Figma. And now I want to change this primary 60 everywhere across the framework. What I do, and this is super important, what you have to do is select this swatch, but not change the color right now. First, you need to click on this little edit swatch button, and now you can paste the hex value here. Now let me save it, and everything throughout the entire SystemFlow has now been changed to this green color. So you can see taglines as well as buttons and some other colors. However, if you hover over a button, you can see that on hover you have a bit different color. And this is why you need to tweak some more colors. Obviously, you can select it, you can go to this hover state, and now you can change this color to a bit lighter green that you copy from Figma. But I think it's a bit easier to go straight to color. And here we made it pretty easy to copy entire color swatches from Figma to Webflow. You're going to be using this little swatch component that we've created. So if you're using SystemFlow for Figma, then you have all the colors saved as swatches in Figma as well. And what you do if you decide to use green instead of blue, you simply change the swatch. If you change the swatch, it will automatically update on this palette. And then you simply export the swatch palette as a PNG file. Now, if I go back to Webflow, what I want to do is replace this image to the one that I've exported from Figma. And I don't have it here yet, so let me import swatches. And let's have it here. Now, you need to select each of the color individually. And for example, if you want to change this primary 10 color to this light green, what you want to do is select this swatch. Now go to its color definition, edit the swatch. Now you can use the color picker and pick the color from here. For now, this is the easiest way to change colors. I think it's pretty fast. Usually for projects, you'll have up to 20, maybe 30 colors. You're not going to have 100 colors, but yeah, this is how it works. Sometimes it's a bit pain, especially if I click outside and I didn't save this color now. So what you want to do is go back to this primary 10 and make sure you edit it, make sure you copy, and then make sure that you hit save. And now that I've changed this primary 10 color, if I go back to my home page, and in here, you'll notice that, for example, for book CTA, I have this the color primary 10 set as a background color. What I want to do is simply get rid of it here. But for this hero section, I want to set this color. I'm going to delete the linear gradient and make it our primary 10 color as a background. For navbar, I'm going to do the same. Let's change the color to primary 10. And also, I don't want navbar to be sticky here, so let me just undo this change and change it back to relative. Also, I don't want this border, so let me select bottom border and let's delete it. Now let's preview. Looks better now. All I need to do is replace some images. For example, logo. Let's replace logo, and we need to import images that I've exported from Figma. So let's do it. Okay, here we have the logo. It's a bit small, so let's change the height to, let's say, 36. It's now better. Let's replace this image. Double click, replace image. We need this book cover right there. And maybe it's a little bit too big, so let's change it to maybe 60% width. And now it's pretty much okay. Now for this image, I also want to replace it, and I already have this one exported. There you go. I can also make it a little bit smaller. Now for this background image that I have, unfortunately I've exported this blue circle, so I won't fix it right now. But for the list items, I guess I can do it. So we have this check marks and also the button below them. For the check marks, I think that in material we have this check circle, and what I'm going to do is delete all the list items apart from one. I'm going to make changes to this one, and let me select this guy. What you can do is just select it, delete, and check circle. I'm using my keyboard to just type it in. Now let's select it. This is material icons class, icon list item. I can change the color by adding a class that would be CT primary 60, and now it's green. Now I can select entire item and paste it as many times as I want. Also for this CTA's wrapper, I'd like to add a button. So let's Command E, let's find a button. That would be our primary button and text only. We don't need any icon. Here it is. I can change the text to the proper CTA. Now I also wonder what's the color for hover for these buttons. Let me go to hover state and check which one should I replace. That would be primary 50. So let's go ahead and navigate to colors once more. And from the palette, let's select primary 50. Now I'm going to change this color, edit, and use the one that I've imported from Figma. Save. That should be it. And now if I go back to my home page, all of the buttons should have the proper hover state, and it seems I'm good to go. So now if I want to change, let's say, all the nav links and make them bolder, I can do so. I can change the weight for this font to, let's say, medium. If I want to change a specific nav link like this one and apply a color to this nav link, I can either add my custom class or use ready-made class for color that I have. So for example, CT primary 60 for this element, and I've added it with a class. if I want to change spacings, because across different projects you'll have different margins and paddings, it really depends what I want to do. So if for all body text I want to change the spacing, I can find the instance of body text in my document, then select it. I don't want to change only the large body text, so let's remove this class for a second. And now if you want to apply some, I don't know, maybe extra margin from top, and have it set to 8 pixels. Let's do it. And now let's reapply this class large for this particular text. So this way I changed entire framework's body text margin and set it to 8. If you want to make a change to a specific this text only, you can either add an extra combo class, or you can use the combo class that we already have in the system. So for example, let me select this button, and I want to add an extra margin top. I'm going to press Command Return to add another class. That would be spacing, margin, and I'm going to use top, and let's say add another 128 pixels. Obviously, this is not really good change, so I'm going to undo it, but this is how you can apply these changes. One thing to remember is that you have different combo classes added to different elements in SystemFlow, the components that we have. So remember not to change properties before you think of classes first. So think of what class you're changing. You're changing the selector that's already here. So sometimes you want to remove part of the selector, change the class, change the properties, and then re-add this part of the selector. Sometimes you want to create another combo class that's basically your own class, and this way you make sure that you don't change anything else in the system. This is really up to you, and I think with a couple of projects made with SystemFlow, you'll totally get it, and that would be natural. You have to train this muscle though, and just create some projects. I think for now that's it, because all the other things like replacing text and changing the colors is just repeating myself in this project. So I'm going to leave it here, and I hope that you understand the process, the idea behind it, and now you can start working on your own designs and ideas with SystemFlow. Okay, let me switch the camera, and I hope that you have some questions, guys. I can see that on chat there's something going on as well. So let me quickly move to this view. And all right, I hope that you enjoyed this showcase. That's obviously not all about SystemFlow, but I wanted to give you a glimpse of what's the most important in SystemFlow, and I hope that you get the idea, and you can imagine that creating landing pages and simple websites in SystemFlow is super easy, and it's pretty much it's pretty fast actually. So about your questions, I have some questions here. First off, let's start with this one. Can I somewhere see all classes and combo classes? Okay, so Nico asked whether he can see the class reference and also combo class reference. And I can see that someone dropped a link to our documentation. So yes, the first place to go to check all the classes is the docs. And then for the combo classes, we have a pretty much defined structure. First question you have to ask yourself is whether you'd like to change only this instance of the element that's on the canvas, or you want to change something system-wide. So if you want to change only this very element, whether it's a responsive breakpoint or on your homepage, for example, and you want to change something specific, then you would, on top of our classes, apply your own class. So you press Command Return, you apply in your own extra class, and this way you don't really worry about anything being changed in the system. So this is a rule of thumb. When you decide that you don't want to change only this element, but you want to change it system-wide, then you have to ask yourself, what do you exactly want to change? So for example, you have this body text, and then you have combo class large applied to it. So you have body class L large. I can see that some frames are dropping, but hopefully you can still hear me. If you can't see me clearly, that's fine, but hopefully you can hear me. So it should smooth out. So so the second thing is whether you want to change the entire body text for all the elements on your within your system, or you want to change only the large text. If you want to change only the large text, then you will work on this class, which is applied to text, to body text, and then large. If you want to change body text, you will remove large and then apply changes to body text. So it really depends on how deep you want to nest those changes in SystemFlow. And adding new classes, new combo classes, it's not that it doesn't get that chaotic because when you create a class on top of what we have, it's always the last class, the last combo class that you create. I think you guys can get used to it. It's pretty straightforward when you start working with SystemFlow. But remember about this important question at the beginning. So whether I want to change only this instance, or I want to make some changes to some of the elements or maybe all of the elements, and then you investigate the classes so that, for example, you change all the headers or only large headers because you have everything as combo classes from the beginning to the end. So this is it. And then what happens if SystemFlow, Nico, if I can iterate on this if you want, so just let me know. And Guido asks, what happens if SystemFlow gets an update? I suppose I need to add that as a separate project to Webflow, or can the single templates project be updated somehow? Okay, so yeah, this is actually a great question. So we're still working on this with a Webflow team. We wanted to make SystemFlow part of Webflow's marketplace. We love Webflow. We want to be a part of the whole ecosystem. We don't want to be, just a project levitating on outside of the ecosystem of Webflow. So we are trying to find ways in order to implement Webflow in the marketplace. There are people from Webflow team helping us do it. For now, this is quite impossible because there is no ready-made process for updating templates, and also the license is not quite what we want because it only allows you to add to use template once. And we obviously created a system so that you can use it for all your projects. But we are on it and we're working with Webflow team, and hopefully soon we'll have a solution for that. But for now, the updates are pretty straightforward. We are publishing a new version of SystemFlow, and when we publish, we send out an email with the information of about what we've changed, what's new in the newest release, and then you request this update. When this update is requested, and you have the lifetime license, so it means that you can get any update of SystemFlow, we will transfer the current SystemFlow version to your account. So this is basically receiving an email, reading through the changelog, and if you want to receive this version, you click the button, and that's it. Then we transfer it to your account. That way, you will always have different versions of SystemFlow on your Webflow account, and depending on which version of SystemFlow you'd like to use, you simply clone this document. This means that you clone entire framework, and this is how you start each new project. We always recommend you to clone the base version of SystemFlow because you want to keep the core so that if you mess up with something, you always can get back to it and have the backup. Obviously, if you need the backup and you by mistake, for example, deleted or change some classes, we can always provide you a backup as well. But this is how it goes. You always have one local copy of the newest version of the library, and then you duplicate it for each project that you create. As for the updates for existing projects, so if let's say you created a page with SystemFlow, and a year later you want to update it to the newest version of the framework. Well, there's no need to do it because this page is ready, and it basically uses the version of the framework that allowed you to create it. So there's, I assume that you've changed all the styling and stuff. So there is no need to update this version. We haven't really tried to migrate some elements between one version and another. We have it on our roadmap to basically see how it behaves if you, for example, copy and paste the entire style guide into other project. But this is kind of an edge case, I think. Most of the times, what you want to do is work on the version of SystemFlow that you currently have, the newest version possibly, but it's not that you have to update those websites each time we release a new version. If we release a new version, probably there's something new and cool that will let you create a new this new project of yours better and faster. But in order to work with the previous ones, you just have this this older version. So for now, we don't have it sorted, but I don't think it's that much of a problem. Usually, with SystemFlow we just create landing pages, and this is basically all we need. Also, we have iterated a lot of many times through SystemFlow, and we think that it's pretty much ready, include as far as its core is concerned. So the classes and stuff like this, we won't change it. We'll probably maybe add more, and we'll definitely add more components and ready-made layouts. So this would make sense to just use it for the new projects with the new version. Ovidiu asks, is the Figma library coming? Is the Figma library out? No, the Figma library is not out yet. We're waiting for Figma to release auto layout version 3, and that would be major change in how we create websites, website layout in Figma. We are super excited about auto layout, and we can't wait to use it in our projects. So we've decided to leave the Figma version, to wait with Figma version of SystemFlow until they release auto layout version 3. And this is happening this month. So we are only, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from releasing Figma SystemFlow library. Definitely, you should check out our Twitter, and we'll be tweeting about it a lot, and we'll be building this library from scratch. We already have a library of components, but we also want to build those layouts with auto layout feature. So I think that it's worth to wait for it, and we don't want to release it with the current version of auto layout, which is a bit clunky, and we don't really like it. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I think we'll ship it. Next question is, why detach components? Oh, that's a great question. So shouldn't components be consistent across the entire design? We're working on a copy of the original SystemFlow design anyway. Right, so again, first question you ask yourself, so you basically use ready-made component, you put it on the canvas, and then you ask yourself whether you'll be fine with overrides. Because for some components, we have those overrides. For example, if you use button from our library, you simply put the button on the canvas, and probably you won't touch this button. You won't edit it apart from its link and its description. And also, if it has an icon, you will probably edit an icon. Those are 3 things that are available via override for the button. So you can fix it with override, and you're set. You don't have to detach it. So if you are good with overrides, that's fine. But the rule of thumb and all the other cases are you basically detach this instance by default. Why are you doing that? Well, first of all, by detaching the instance of the component, you don't really destroy anything SystemFlow knows about this component in terms of styling, because either way, if you detach it, we still use the same classes. So all the headers and buttons and images inside, they have those classes applied. So if you change something system-wide, for example, margins or colors, they will still inherit those changes, and everything is fine. The only one exception I think I can think of is probably changing the structure in a component that you want to reuse in the same project. So if you want to change the structure, for example, add another button to some CTA section, you might want to leave it as component and edit master component so that you can reuse it with the new structure, with the new master. But this is rarely happening. Oftentimes you just change text and images, and this is okay, because even if you detach it, you'd still have those classes controlling colors and typography and spacing, and you can easily replace images and text. So that's basically it. And for for different components, when you detach them, it's so much easier to work with them in Webflow. That this is also why we do it. You don't have to go to this master component definition and then edit something inside. You have it on your canvas and you can double click to change the text. That's basically it. Okay, some more questions. Martin, what about if I would like to use it for my clients? Should they always buy SitePlan on Webflow? Martin, so the thing is, no. If you design for your clients, you stick with your SystemFlow version. You basically duplicate it on your Webflow account, and then you design. After you're finished, let's say you want to transfer this project to your client. So if you don't make any further changes to this project, and your client wants to like finalize the deal and take it from you, basically, what you can do is transfer this website to his Webflow account, and you can do it with the framework. We are allowing to transfer it to your client's account with the framework, so with all the style guide pages. This is simply because this style guide is documentation, and your client will have all the documentation in place, and this is the living documentation. Basically, whatever you change, it changes in documentation. So your client probably wants this documentation. It's pretty useful, so we allow to transfer with SystemFlow with the entire framework. And then when your client gets this when your client has it on his account, Webflow account, well, it's up to him. If in order to make changes, he would have to have Webflow's. He would have to buy SitePlan, because if he's hosting that with Webflow, he would have to have this hosting plan. He doesn't really need the designer plan. So if he hosts this website from his Webflow dashboard, he can also edit it and make any adjustments to the project. So fairly easy. So he only pays for the hosting. The other way around could be that you are hosting this from your Webflow account, and then you use this Webflow's feature called client billing in order to bill your client, and Webflow automatically bills your client, and you can even add some margin on top, so that it includes some changes or the work that you do. So for pretty much most of our clients, what we do is we host their websites from our account, and then we also we ship the version of the website to their account so that they have backup and they are safe if something happens to us or anything bad, so that they can easily host from their account as well. But we host from our account. We use client billing to charge them for hosting. And also, if they request some changes, we have this version of website that we can work on and implement those changes. So this is how it usually works, but you're safe to transfer it to your client as well. And also, if he wants to, let's say, not host it with websites, yeah, well, sure, he can download the zip file with all the CSS, JS, and HTML files and host it somewhere else. The thing is, he won't be able to ever get it back into Webflow's designer and use SystemFlow and all the other things that are, in Webflow's designer. So this is how it goes. I hope that's the answer. Then we have a question: what's the link between Figma, SystemFlow, and Webflow? And do I need all three softwares, and why? So no, you definitely need Webflow, because SystemFlow is the framework for Webflow, and you don't really need anything else to use SystemFlow. But what we want to do is we want to make it convenient, and what's our ultimate goal for SystemFlow is basically bridging the gap between the design and development. So there's a huge gap between what we design in Figma or Sketch or XD, and then transferring it into ready-made website. That's the pain that we want to, that's the thing that we want to fix with SystemFlow, because it takes too long. It requires unnecessary saving things, exporting, then copying and pasting the text and colors and everything. So ultimately, SystemFlow is here for you to help you bridge that gap. In a perfect world, SystemFlow will allow you to export your design with one click from either Sketch, Figma, or any other design file, and automatically import this into Webflow so that you have ready-made website. We are not there yet. However, we'll try, and hopefully sometime in future we'll deliver this version. For now, what we're doing is we're shipping our UI kit for Figma when the auto layout version 3 is released, so that you have everything in SystemFlow mapped to Figma. So you have the same components, and you can design in Figma using the same ready-made components. So it's super easy to later on just use the same names, copy and paste in Webflow, and recreate the structure. And this is the first step. However, we will later on implement, maybe write some plugins for Figma that will let you quickly export colors. For example, right now I show you one way in which you can do it, but there are many other ways, and maybe with plugin it can be faster. But you don't really have to use Figma. Probably at some point in future we'll create also Sketch or XD version. And also we found ourselves using Webflow only a lot of times with SystemFlow. So this is actually, we didn't think of it this way, but right now, oftentimes when we have a simple landing page to create, we just create some simple sketches. It can be, you can use paper and pencil to sketch out some flows and some user flows and maybe some simple page layouts, and or use Figma or XD, whatever, to prototype a simple, just rectangles and text and borders and things like this. And then from there, you can basically open this and switch to Webflow and use our documentation in order to find the components that you probably need for your prototype, and then start from there. So you don't have to create a detailed layout before you jump into Webflow and SystemFlow. And basically, in order to use SystemFlow, you only need Webflow. Are you planning to create more components in the future? Of course we are. So Penny, this is like our main goal. We're planning to create a lot more components. We already have a lot of them in our roadmap. We're gonna publish our roadmap pretty soon, and this is our everyday work. So day to day, we work in Webflow, and we use SystemFlow to do it. So when we design something and this has the potential to become a component in SystemFlow, we'll basically add it to SystemFlow and ship it. So it will be a living system of a lot of different components, and we're going to add the new ones until we run out of the ideas, or maybe change our job to do something else. but unless we run out of ideas, we'll ship new components. And also we have quite a nice components planned. Those are called live components. What we want to do is create a series of code snippets as components in Webflow that you can just drag and drop on the canvas. And they are not static, but they are dynamic in the sense that they have some JavaScript code behind them. And for example, this way you can create cookie notification or some simple counters on your website. Just drag and drop and maybe tweak some details, and also use Webflow's editor to tweak the styling. And then you have ready-made components. If you have any ideas for such components, what you would use. So for example, this clock on the website, I don't know, but counter is pretty cool. Cookie notification, maybe some preloaders, maybe some other stuff that we might create. We are also thinking of hiring a developer who would help us develop those live components. So if you guys figure out that you need anything, just let us know, because we are pretty early in the development of SystemFlow, and it will improve with new components that we'll create. Next question. So the thinking is, we ensure consistency through classes, so that's why we can detach components and still keep consistency. That's correct. Yeah, that should be the answer to my question. You still have the classes, and so that you don't need this structure in components. That's it. example, I need to add padding and margins to a button, so I detach it and add these necessary classes. But the look of a button will still be consistent, and I can change it later across the design. That's pretty much correct. So if you, the button will still use these classes. So for example, that would be always button class, then combo class medium, then combo class something. So this is probably the way to think of it is those styles keep your components consistent. And if you want to add an extra margin or padding to a specific use case for this button in this very place on the website, you use it, you add it with, we suggest you add it with our spacing classes. So for example, you apply the class M, margin, top 25 or 26 or 32, right? You apply it on top of this component. But if you want to change all the buttons in the entire system so that they have this margin top applied, you go to the definition of the button, and in the master component for the button, you have special section in SystemFlow. If you go to the docs and you select buttons and scroll all the way down, you'll see that you have this section where you can make changes to the structure of the button. And if you change, for example, padding in the specific section, it will be changed across every button throughout the system. Okay. Penny, okay, I'm halfway through my first SystemFlow site, and it's making life much easier. Great, Penny. I keep my fingers crossed for it. And also, please, I think that after making maybe 2 or 3 projects with SystemFlow, you'll see that it kind of comes naturally to use these classes. And I know that at the beginning, it might be a little bit, overwhelming with all the classes and components, but yeah, you have us. You can always ask, and I think that this just takes a bit of practice to get acquainted with SystemFlow. But once you do, it's really a lifesaver. Will SystemFlow offer monthly subscription packages? No, we don't. We don't have such plans for now. So what we want to do is create a package that will be a lifetime updates package that we already have. We are selling it right now. If you go to systemflow.co, this is probably the best price you can get because it's pre-order price. We'll have launch promotion this week as well, and it will probably be the same. It won't be lower price. So now is probably the best time to pre-order SystemFlow. And if you pre-order right now, you'll have lifetime updates, and all the updates will come to you via email, and you can request the versions. That's why we don't really plan to create some subscription models for it, and we don't want to for now add another subscription service to your bills. We think for now it's kind of like what our product is about. The thing that you'll have the updates and you don't have subscription is also really great for Webflow freelancers and agencies. So we want to keep it that way, but maybe in future, if more people request it, maybe we'll add it. Maybe if we have live components, for example, and those live components will require some additional server power or hosting or things like this that will require infrastructure that we have to pay each month. Maybe we'll add some extra package with subscription for these components only. But I don't know. It doesn't come to my mind right now. Okay, maybe this question is already answered. When are you planning to send out the first version of SystemFlow Webflow part? If you bought yesterday, you should get it by tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be sending the next batch of SystemFlow for everyone of you that's bought recently, like yesterday, today, or you're gonna buy it today. Tomorrow you should receive your copy of SystemFlow. The way we do it is just transfer it to your Webflow account and send you an onboarding email with all the details, some tutorials, and good news as well. We'll launch our university pretty soon with plenty of video tutorials on how to use SystemFlow with some practical examples. So stay tuned for the university as well. If we order solo for trial, can we upgrade to team later? Yes, so we had a few questions like this. and will probably enable you to upgrade to the team license. So let's get in touch via email. You can always email us at hello@systemflow.co. Sorry, that's hello. Okay, and yeah, we'll probably enable upgrades of the license from solo to team. How long till the pre-order ends and SystemFlow will be ready to use both in Figma and Webflow? So Krzysztof, it's already it's fully functional in Webflow right now. So we are sending over the version 1 of SystemFlow already. So this week, today's pre-orders will get SystemFlow version 1 probably tomorrow. And for the pre-order to end, it's pretty soon because we want to launch it officially this week. So probably Wednesday or Thursday we're going to launch it, and then the pre-order deal will be converted into the launch offer. And this launch offer won't be better. I don't know if it would be worse or the same. Maybe it will stay the same. If it stays the same, it's probably going to last for another week. And then we are going to leave SystemFlow as is in its regular price. And there are some people asking us whether we will also create a license that doesn't include updates. And we are thinking of this kind of SystemFlow version that might be a bit cheaper. However, we really recommend you to get it with the updates because we are just getting started with this. To be honest, a straight out trial for even for a day would be a good idea. Yeah, we'll have that. So with the launch of SystemFlow, we'll also provide. Well, okay. First of all, we if you just purchase and for any reason you're not satisfied with what you have, just drop us a line at hello@systemflow.co and we'll make you a refund the same day. So that's not a problem, I guess. For the preview, we'll definitely have it. So with the launch of SystemFlow on Wednesday or Thursday, we'll also have this version of that you can open as a link in Webflow, and you can preview that in Webflow. It won't be clonable, but you'll be able to see the read-only version of Webflow file as well as Figma file once it's released. So Krzysztof asked, and Figma would be ready in, I guess, my best guess is 2-3 weeks, because we are pretty close to seeing version 3 of Auto Layout. So no longer than this, and you'll have both Figma and Webflow version of SystemFlow. By this time, I don't know if the special price would be available. So what I'd recommend is to order a bit earlier and just wait for the Figma to arrive. Team plan is big financial commitment. I totally understand that, and sure, I think that the Webflow preview would fix that, and you can then use it and not copy but use it, and also you're pretty safe with our refund policy. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? It's really awesome. Thank you for these questions, and I'm super pumped about all the things that you might be able to create with SystemFlow. I'd be very happy to see what you created with SystemFlow. So anytime you work on something, just please reach out to hello@systemflow.co and we'll have a look. If you need some help, we're here to help. We're going to host some webinars like this so that you can ask some questions. And also for people who pre-ordered, we are hosting Zoom sessions with me and Matt. The first one is today, and we'll be also showcasing some of the features and helping you with SystemFlow. Jonathan, labels on forms are not programmatically linked to the inputs, but I guess you could just drag in new parts from the normal Webflow and add elements. Yeah, of course, sure. You have, Well, we'll check that. Thanks for noting. I'll just put a note on that and see whether all inputs are linked. They should be. However, yeah, obviously you can use all the Webflow's power inside of SystemFlow. That's why it's really, it doesn't have any boundaries within your project. You can use all the Webflow tools, and if you don't like component, you can simply tweak it. And sure, yeah. So we are just auditing SystemFlow for accessibility, and we have a few changes that we'll deliver with version 1.1 probably very soon. So we've noticed some problems, and those are minor. However, yeah, like you said, this should be changed, and we are huge fans of accessibility, and we'll provide it, straight from the box. SystemFlow should be ready to ship with all the accessibility features. For now, there are like 5 things probably we're working on. So we are working on this Figma version of SystemFlow. We are working on free templates that will deliver to people who pre-ordered SystemFlow for free. So we will create a few starter templates. The ones that I've shown you today is one of the templates that will be probably shipping to them within the next few days. Then we'll fixing some bugs. We have a few of them, but nothing critical. But those will be pushed in the newest release, probably in a few days as well. Also, we're working on the university. So I'm recording a lot of different tutorials on how to use both SystemFlow and Webflow. You'll find really cool tips and tricks on Webflow in our university as well. And also, we are working with Webflow team on some updates on how we could use Webflow's ecosystem with templates and maybe automatic updates for SystemFlow. This is open for the future. For now, it works good, but probably in future this might even be better. So this is on our radar right now, and obviously we are planning a lot more of components, and we'll be designing them soon. Krzysztof, will you create a Facebook group for ongoing Webflow-related conversations? No plans for now, but who knows? Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe for our clients, we'll create some kind of channel of communication so that we can they can communicate with us and with other SystemFlow users. That would be awesome, and sure, why not? Okay, thank you guys. If you don't have any questions, I think that that's pretty great. I'm super happy, super pumped that you all came and asked so many questions. It's amazing, and it's amazing to watch how our product is growing, and we are super happy to be having the opportunity to work on it, and probably will organize and host more webinars like this. So keep an eye on our Twitter. Definitely subscribe, and you can subscribe to this YouTube channel as well, as we'll be probably hosting live events here for some time. And yeah, okay, there's one more question. What are live components? So Nelson, those are components that we want to introduce in a few months, maybe 2 months at the beginning of the next year. And we want to create bits and pieces of JavaScript code that you can use as a component. So for example, think of a counter for your website that's counting down to, New Year's Eve, or probably the end of your promotion. Or let's say cookie notifications that are linked to some kind of maybe Airtable database. So live components, basically we try to implement some no-code tools in order to run them, maybe link with Zapier or Integromat or Airtable, so that you can have a bit more business logic within SystemFlow. That would be awesome. Also, we plan an easy ones like the counter and maybe preloaders for your websites, so that you can, those are not static components, but live components. This is how we think of them, and we looking for feedback and basically ideas for live components, what you guys want to use in SystemFlow as live component. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. That was amazing. Thanks for coming, and I hope next time we'll have even more professional setup, and we'll show you even more SystemFlow features. Thank you for now. Have a great night, and we have a night here because we're based in Warsaw. But you guys from US, have a good day, and see you around. Bye bye.